Welcome everyone. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing fine here. Welcome you back again to my channel. Today I'd like to talk to you about something that I hear a lot of people talking about, discussing pros and cons. And the subject would be outdated food. Do you use it or not? Truth or myth? So I've got a list here of, I think it's about 20 different items. And this was a list that was put out by, let's see, food industry, foods you can eat after their expiration dates. So let's just talk about that a little bit. Do you go beyond the date on your packages of items? I've brought out just 2 or 3 here to make comparisons with and show you what I do. Always remember, on this channel, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not a nutritionist, a doctor, or even an advisor. The things I talk about on here are what I believe in, what I do myself, what I have found for me has worked. So please, everyone, do your own due diligence and check into things. That's the best thing to do. Anyways, let me start with the list. The list I have here, you're going to see me looking away as I look at it. Well, no, you won't either. The camera might move though. Okay, the first one on the list is beans. Dry beans last indefinitely if they are stored in a cool, dry place. Other pantry items such as lentils, oats, and so forth also last indefinitely. They will be safe to eat even though they have lost their freshness. Second one is berries. Berries usually keep only about 2 days after you buy them. They might last longer if you give them some room to breathe. Put them in a single layer. If you wash berries in hot water for about 30 seconds, they'll last longer. For me, what I do is when I buy berries, I lay them out on top of parchment on a cookie sheet, or as some people call it, a baking sheet. And I lay them out as a single layer. And then I put that sheet in my freezer for at least several hours, and longer is even better. Then when they're all frozen individually, you slip them into a freezer bag. That way they don't stick together. And you can pull out a small amount of what you want. It has worked for me so far. Bread. Bread can be eaten after the expiration date on the package. But of course, don't eat it if you see mold on it. If you want, you can freeze it. I personally, it's a trick someone else had mentioned to me. When I freeze bread, if I do, or toast or things like that, I put a paper towel inside the wrapper and then freeze it. I have found that works. I don't know what the theory is behind it. Possibly it removes some moisture. I'm not sure. But if you freeze it, it'll last you at least 3 months. Butter is number 4. It lasts a long time. And if you can't use it within a reasonable amount of time from your refrigerator, you can freeze that. I freeze my butter all the time. It's in there for months on end, and I just pull it out. Candies. Fresh candies taste good, but candies kept over a year won't taste good. Oh, excuse me a moment. Got up this morning with a little frog in my throat. Candy corn, chewing gum, and milk and white chocolate should be tossed after 6 to 9 months. Canned foods, and that's probably the biggest one that people mull over. People often throw it away because it's past the expiration date that's on the can. That date is usually 3 years from when it was placed on the shelf in the grocery store. You can use the food in those cans from 2 to 5 years past the date, provided they're kept in a cool, dry place and they don't have like any dents or bulges in the cans. So as a comparison, I just wanted to show you. Like say this would be considered, well, it might be considered a vegetable. Let's go with this one. This is due to expire, it has expired according to this May of 23. I date all my things when they come in so that I can line them up on a shelf and take the oldest ones first. So would I use this? Yes. For me, definitely. In fact, I used one last week to make my own spaghetti sauce. Nothing wrong with it. Came out perfect. Another thing would be cereal. I didn't put any cereal out here. I think it's self-explanatory. I would say don't toss those boxes after they reach the expiration. If they've been kept in your pantry or a cupboard unopened, it will stay fresh from 6 to 8 months past the date on the box. If it's been opened, it will last between 4 and 6 months. Now, it's a little different if you have cooked cereal. Cooked cereal is only going to be good for about 4 to 5 days in the refrigerator. Cheese is another item. Cheese is something I actually keep in the refrigerator for quite a while, and I do freeze it. It says it can be eaten a month past expiration date. Even if you see mold on the cheese, you could still cut it off and then eat it. Chips, cookies, crackers, well, they'll stay fresh long after you first open the sealed bags. Make sure you keep the bags closed, though, when you're not using them. And throw them away if they smell bad, taste stale, or crumble in your hands. Condiments, ketchup and mustard are a good year or two beyond the printed dates if the bottles are unopened. Corn on the cob. Now this one was a little surprising to me, but and I do freeze corn on the cob. I husk it and freeze it as like that, but it says 5-day-old corn can still be eaten. It won't make you sick, but it won't taste very good. If you purchase corn on the cob without the husks, this was something that I hadn't thought of. The kernels dry out very fast, which is quite often in the grocery stores you'll see packages of 4 already husked. So I guess in my mind says, well, I guess we would eat that up rather quickly. If you want to freeze your corn to last longer, cook it in boiling water and cut it off the cob and freeze it in a bag. That's great, but it's not corn on the cob at that point. Here's another one that I know a lot of people had a lot of confusion over. Eggs. Eggs you can use them within 3 to 5 weeks of purchasing them. They'll keep longer is to keep them in their carton. Another thing I didn't realize, which makes sense. Refrigerator manufacturers, I have nothing against them. I want to make that clear. I'm just reading from this article. didn't think it through when they put egg holders on the refrigerator door, that eggs are exposed to air every time the door is opened. Besides, if they are not kept in the carton, you might forget when you got them because you don't have a date on them, which is true. If you want to know whether your eggs are fresh or not, there is a test you can do. Place an egg in a bowl of water. If it sinks to the bottom, then the egg is safe to eat. If the egg floats on top of the water, then it's not safe to eat. So there you go. I can picture it now. Everybody's running around, aren't you? Putting your eggs in water. Fresh fish only lasts for 2 days in the refrigerator. Cook clams, oysters, or mussels as soon as you possibly can. Raw fish can last between 6 and 9 months if you freeze it. Smoked fish can last 3 to 6 months in the freezer. Commercially frozen fish will keep for 10 to 12 months. Unopened canned fish, such as tuna, can keep between 2 and 5 years past the printed date. Interesting. And that helps, all these things kind of, knowing these things helps you save some money. In other words, maybe like, I'm trying to think, I think it was this, it had slipped back on the shelf and I didn't realize that date had come up, but now I don't feel worried about that at all. But that can happen to anyone. Something gets shoved to the back of the refrigerator, to the back of your shelf. So now this puts it in a little better perspective as to should I or should I not eat it? Let's see, honey. Honey keeps almost forever. And I know probably some of you are going to say, but what happens when it gets all crystallized and everything like that? That's fine. Just put the bottle itself in a dish of warm water, and it'll soften up. And it doesn't mean that it's gone bad. It just means it is hard to get out of the jar because it doesn't pour. On the frozen foods, you can pretty much keep past their dates. Raw meat and poultry, not so much. Well, keep a few days in the refrigerator. But if you freeze them, then you can keep them longer. Except that, now this is one I did not know, and I have not been doing that. Frozen ground meat will last 3 to 4 months. I've kept ground meat that's been cryovac sealed in there for a year, and I've used it, and I don't see any difference in it, honestly. Whole chickens and turkeys can be kept frozen for up to a year. And you may hear that little voice again in the background. I don't know why she does this every time I try to do that. I think it's attention getting. Okay, milk. You can tell if milk is bad just by smelling it, of course. And it looks discolored and it has lumps in it and ugh. Dairy milk can last 5 or more days past the printed date. Non-fat milk can last 7 to 10 days past the date on the carton. Whole milk, 5 to 7 days. And if unopened, it talks about powdered milk, which some of you may keep on hand in case you run out of milk. The powdered milk can keep up to a month past the sell-by date. Regular, that's unopened powdered milk. Regular powdered milk often has a best by date of 18 months. But according to the USDA, since powdered milk is a shelf-stable food, it may be able to last indefinitely. Now, on that note, I'd like to show you what I keep all the time in the house as a shelf-stable milk. I use it all the time. In fact, I have some unopened in my refrigerator right now. I use it on my cereal. This happens to be 2% reduced, but you can get whole milk. I always have 3 or 4 of these. I mean, what if you ran out of milk and, let's picture it, a big snowstorm comes in, you have no milk. You can always go and grab this and it's there for you. I use this all the time. In fact, I very rarely buy milk any longer. You can also do that with evaporated milk. Make up your own milk in a pinch. And in the cans, again, that'll keep quite a while. Nuts are another problem. I've always had that problem because I'm not big consuming nuts, although I use them in my baking. They go rancid, really, if they're kept too long. And maybe a lot of people realize that. Some people freeze them to keep them fresh. Some say they toast them in a pan. Pasta. That's a common one. Dry pasta will last long past the expiration date because it doesn't contain any water or any other liquid. That's what gets us in trouble, liquid and acid. It will stay fresh if it is kept in a dry place in an airtight container. You can keep boxed pasta 2 years past its printed date. If you get something like cooked pasta from the deli or you make some up yourself, you don't want to keep it more than 4 or 5 days in the refrigerator, but you could freeze it up to 6 to 8 months. I myself, I don't know if anybody's aware of this. You can buy something that is called oxygen absorbers, because it's oxygen that also gets a hold of food when you have it in a certain place. Only thing you have to be careful with that is when you're doing rice, and it does talk about rice, it's okay if you keep it in an oxygen-free container. Now, I personally am not a big rice eater, but I do have some rice on hand. And I have to let you know, in honesty, as I've been told, brown rice is going to go bad quicker than white rice. So keep that in mind when you're thinking of doing that. Peanut butter with preservatives can keep up to a year past the printed date. Keep the jars in the refrigerator. Even so, they usually only last 3 to 6 months past the expiration date. Because it has no moisture and plenty of oil, regular peanut butter can keep at least 3 to 5 years. It could become rancid after 9 to 12 years. It won't hurt you, it just won't taste good. Nutella, which I know a lot of people use these days, the children seem to like that, only lasts 1 to 2 months past the printed date. Salad mixes. They're advising don't be quick to throw away packages of salad mixes. If you see any wilted leaves, just pinch them off and throw them away. The rest of the lettuce can still be eaten, and you can revive that lettuce with ice water if it begins to wilt. Yogurt. That's another thing there's been a lot of controversy about. You can freeze yogurt. I've always known that. when it's unopened, it'll last about 2 or 3 weeks in the refrigerator, past the date on the container. It will be good up to 2 months in the freezer. Alcoholic beverages. Okay, I don't know how many viewers out there are beer drinkers, but beer is listed on here and does not keep its flavor indefinitely. It won't spoil, but the flavor changes over time. Now, I'm not recommending somebody go out and drink their beer. It just says here, try to drink your beer within 6 months of the bottling date. And there's a lot of other foods that can be used long after expiration dates. I'm going to put a link at the bottom of this video to this report, which is coming from a site called deliciously.com food. I'll put the link there, so if any of you would like to go further with it, please do. Again, I urge you all to research things. I know everybody gets talking, and I've even been told that myself. Oh my gosh, no, you can't use that. It's past the date. Well, as I said before, don't just take that as a given. Make sure you do your own research before you make decisions. And the same goes for what I'm telling you. If you kind of disagree with me, research it a little more, and that's fine. I hope you found this to be informative, and I hope it helped you make some good decisions with regard to what you stock in your pantry and what you're eating. And I guess that's going to be it for today. Please hit the subscribe button. Give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this. And until tomorrow, possibly, I'll talk to you then. Take care, be safe, be well, look out for your elders. Thank you. Bye-bye now. Hello again. I just wanted to add this little quick addendum to the video you just watched. I apologize for all that barking in the background. I can only say, I guess they love me. Tomorrow I will make sure they're in their crates where they won't bark and disturb us. Thanks for your patience. Bye-bye now.